For our next question, we're asked to find the zeros of each of the following parabolas. Those parabolas are written in standard form. Well, what we're going to do is factor them. Now let's think about what it means to be a zero. What it means to be a zero is similar to what it means to be an x-intercept or a root. What it means is when y equals 0, what will x equal? Well, the way we do that is to let y equal 0. We re-express the equation, and the only change we make is, at first, we just let the left-hand side be 0. 0 equals 2x squared plus 4x minus 30. Now, we factor out the 2, like we know how to do, and inside the bracket we have x squared plus 2x minus 15. We then find two numbers with a sum of positive 2 and a product of negative 15. Those two numbers are plus 5 and minus 3. And so now we know that 0 is equal to this factor times this factor times this factor. That means that one of these three factors has to equal 0. Well, clearly 2 does not equal 0. That would be silly. So that must mean that x plus 5 equals 0 or x minus 3 equals 0. X plus 5 equals 0 or x minus 3 equals 0. That's the only way that this expression could possibly equal 0. Well, if x plus 5 equals 0, go back to your grade 9 course. You'll know that x must be negative 5. And if x minus 3 equals 0, going back to grade 9, you'll know that x has to equal 3. So those are our zeros. X equals negative 5 or x equals 3. If you're wondering what does that really mean, that means that if you plug negative 5 in for x or 3 in for x, this expression will equal 0. Moving to our next question, y equals negative 5x squared plus 15x minus 10. Since we're finding zeros, we let y equal 0. Now, whenever we have a quadratic equation and we want to solve, it's good to let that side equal 0 anyway. What we next do is factor, and then this term becomes x squared, this term becomes negative 3x, and this term becomes positive 2. And remember, when you factor out a negative number, each term inside will have its sign switched from positive to negative or vice versa. Now we factor the bracket. X squared minus 3x plus 2 factors to x minus 2 times x minus 1, because negative 2 and negative 1 add to negative 3 but multiply to positive 2. So now this is our expression. 0 equals this quantity times this quantity times this quantity. That means that one of these three quantities equals 0. Since negative 5 does not equal 0, that means one of these two quantities does. X minus 2 equals 0 or x minus 1 equals 0. And then that becomes a fairly straightforward grade 9 question where x will then equal positive 2 or x will equal positive 1. Those are our zeros. Again, if we plug one of these two solutions into here, we will get a number of 0. For our last one here, we look at y equals x squared plus 7x plus 6. Well, this is a bit of an easier question because our leading coefficient is 1. Nothing to common factor at the start. So, we let y equal 0. That means 0 equals x squared plus 7x plus 6. We then are going to factor two numbers that multiply to positive 6 but add to positive 7 are positive 6 and positive 1. So x plus 6 has to equal 0 or x plus 1 has to equal 0. And again, going back to our grade 9 course, that means x equals negative 6 or x equals negative 1.